back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week we bring you someone who shares a life-changing event, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. Today, I have a very special guest for you. They're good friends of mine. They are the husband and wife co-creating team of Bistro Huddy, Drew Talbert, and Andrea Kelly. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us in.
We're so excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to be here. How did we meet? That's usually how we start.
You and I?
Groundlings, probably, right?
Oh! I thought you were never. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Not
yes.
we.
Yes.
We.
Yes, I remember meeting you at Groundlings.
I don't think we ever took a class or a workshop.
I remember hearing about you first. I can't exactly remember the details, but this person was you were a few years behind me or a year or so.
Yeah, because you did Sunday.
And a really funny comedian. And, you hear about other people.
Right.
That's all. And I remember maybe seeing you in a show or something.
Yeah, you did Sunday Company, yeah?
I did.
Like 3.
Two.
Two times.
I always thought it was
Ouch.
3. I've argued with people about it.
No, 2.
Okay. Yeah. And this is going to lead into our discussion today.
Okay.
Because of all your characters.
She did some Groundlings too.
I did.
Took some
I
classes
really,
there,
I loved it. I stopped though, kind of around when we got married. I was planning a wedding. Was just like
I was like, no wife of mine is going to be funnier than me.
You're like,
done.
you're getting
So,
too
yeah.
good.
You're
You need
done.
to stop.
Yeah, really not gonna. Yeah. So
And then how did you guys meet?
at a
At a restaurant,
Yeah, we
working
worked-
at Boneyard Bistro in Sherman Oaks, which is also the backdrop of Bistro Huddy.
Great.
And yeah, we worked
Yeah.
there for 5 years, and then
because Bistro Huddy is shot on green screen.
It is.
So those
Yes.
images are from an actual restaurant.
Yes.
maybe they don't know what
Boneyard.
Bistro Huddy
Yeah,
is.
let's.
Maybe
I was
we
going to
should-
say, let's
maybe we should-
explain for the viewers
those
that don't know.
Wait a minute. Who would not know what Bistro
The
Huddy
3
is?
people,
Some people might not.
The 3 people that don't know what Bistro Huddy is.
Do you want us to
Yeah,
go
I
into
wish
that?
you guys.
I always say it like this: imagine a sitcom set in a restaurant
Mm-hmm.
where the episodes are about a minute long, and I play all the characters.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Lots
my
of wigs.
That's my
Lots
lot of
of
wigs.
Let's go with how it all started, because I have questions on did it start with one character and then, because obviously the cast has grown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's huge now.
It's huge now.
Yeah.
But was it just what were you guys trying to do first? How did it get going? The pandemic, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. So if we start back there, that was pandemic hit, and I was working 2 jobs. We had a 1-year-old. We have 2 kids now. We had a 1-year-old. I never was home much. Teaching at the Groundlings.
Right.
Working at the restaurant.
Got it.
And then everything shut down. So for the first time, I had time. She got on TikTok first,
Okay.
and I was like skeptical, but I'm like, oh, that's
Making
funny.
fun of it. He made fun of me so bad for being on TikTok. Because at that time, you thought of it as like a kid's dancing app.
Correct.
You didn't-
And
I
what did you
remember.
get on it for?
To do a dance with my friends. But she's an adult, okay?
Yeah,
It wasn't just a kid.
I know, but that is true. And then she'd be like, look at this funny video or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, there's people doing bits,
Yeah.
And it was just so easy looking.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So I started doing stuff.
Okay.
And it wasn't Bistro Huddy. It was
a restaurant. It was just
it was just
random little.
about how you pick up the laundry, and every time the sock falls, you pick that up, the underwear falls, just stupid stuff like that.
Right.
Relatable household comedy. That was going to be my niche. But anyway, and then I did a restaurant one, and
Okay.
it blew up.
Okay.
And I was playing the mom, the kid, and the waiter. But I was me as the waiter.
Were you already green screening it, or were you
No.
just
No.
doing the runners?
Literally,
Yeah.
so we're in this. We've moved, but that house, I would film in a 4x4 foot corner of our bedroom,
I love this.
and I'd bring dining room chair in,
Like
and
a room
shoot.
divider blocking our
and I would
bed.
use this room
Right.
divider to look like the back of it, and the waiter was always just me, Drew,
Right.
and then the characters would have the wigs,
Right.
and then eventually it grew because it's well, we need a female server because we had to
Well,
do.
let's
Yeah.
back up a little bit. So he did that one with the same I think intentions as all the other ones. I'm just doing a little random bit, and
Yeah.
then because it blew up, he was like, okay, maybe I'll do another
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And then it kept every single one was going viral, so then it kept going more and more, and then
That's
you said,
right.
he kept
Yeah.
adding.
And then one
having
day
to
we
add-
needed a menu, so it's our kid's name's Hudson, Bistro Huddy.
That answers one of the
'cause it's
questions.
we
Okay.
put him to sleep, and then I had from 7:30 till midnight, I'd make the video.
Right. Were you
And
also
then-
learning how to edit through this whole process?
I had edited for years in different ways. I had become a certified Avid editor when I thought I was going to become an editor.
Okay.
So I'd taken editing courses. I've been editing since college. It was called Rainbow Runner, this early software.
Oh my God, I
back
think
in
I
the
remember that.
90s.
old.
Alex is laughing.
He's
Our
old.
producer's laughing because he's like, yeah.
Are you kidding me? You've
He's
heard
just
of this?
aged himself.
I need to have like a whole dinner with Alex now because Alex, yeah. Alex, that's amazing. So, and it was real buggy and awful and like whatever. I'd been editing for a while. And we had tried 2018 to backtrack even more before TikTok. We had committed to making a YouTube channel.
Right.
And we were going to make a video every week for a year. And we freaking did it.
I mean, we didn't have like an end. Like we were like, we're going to make a video every week. We didn't
Yeah.
say for a year. I think for a lot of
all right.
people that are out here trying to be actors, like I think so many of us try to create our own opportunities, and
Right.
we'd written pilots before and shot them, and it was on such like a bigger scale that financially we're like, we can't keep doing more of those. Let's just do YouTube. And so
Right.
we created this video with this weirdo character.
Because
called
we had
Curtis
started doing
Creep.
vines with it. It was like
Yeah.
this character
Oh, I
named
remember
Curtis
those, yeah.
Creep. And the wig is actually Pickles. There's a
Oh,
character Pickles
I
on
love
Bistro Huddy.
Pickles.
Without the hat, it's like just this bowl cut.
Right.
It's like
really.
very Lord
Oh, I know
Farquaad.
exactly
So
what
what happened was I'm
Yeah, yeah,
living. It's Andrea and I and her sister Lauren
Mm-hmm.
are all living in this house, and we would do this character Curtis Creep, and he was their weird roommate.
Creepy roommate.
And so they'd come around the corner and he'd be doing something creepy. It'd be like a 8-second vine.
Right.
We did like 8 of those, putting them on Instagram too, probably. And then we started like, let's do this YouTube channel, The Curtis Creep Show.
Yeah.
So that's what it was.
We would
Great.
do
So
full-on
once a week, we're
sketches.
doing like 5-minute little bits
Yeah.
with this character.
Okay.
After a year, 200 subscribers.
We also have to say, like,
YouTube's rough, dude.
we also have friends that have come, like, been like, that was really cringe. Like, that was hard to watch. Like, they couldn't, they like did it to support us, but the character
Yeah.
was just not it. And
Yeah.
I think looking back now, I think had we had a completely different mindset and thought this might feel like really weird to say, but like to market towards like kids, like a blippy kind of a thing.
Right.
I think maybe kids,
We
like
would be
younger
rolling in
kids
it.
would think it was like, he'd be really funny, but like who we were marketing to is people our age and they're just
It was
like,
inappropriate
it's
for
just-
kids.
like-
But the character totally was for kids, so adults didn't
Yeah.
want it. No
Yeah.
one wanted this.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, think about Pickles, too, though. Pickles has this very childlike... I mean, Curtis Creep was a very different version of that, but...
Right. Well, look,
Yeah.
Pickles is a good complementary character to a thing, right?
Right.
But to put it all on this freaking weirdo, it had an audience. It was just a very small
Are these videos
audience.
still up?
No,
I took
Drew
some-
scrubbed them from the
No,
internet.
there's-
He
there's
was
a-
like, it's too much.
There's
I
a
have
couple
left
of them
one.
that
He
really
left
worked.
one.
Like Curtis Creep went to the Ren Fair.
Oh,
And it was
That
just
was
a
a fun one.
video.
That was a fun
Again,
one.
in certain contexts,
It would
it's
work,
fine. I did one with Brian McGrath. Like,
Yeah.
Ian Gary.
And Ian Gary. Oh my God, he still gets. He has a bit of that on his Instagram, and he's very political on his Instagram.
Right.
And so the people that don't agree with him find that, and they're like, "I knew you were fucking weird."
Like he
It's like-
was
'cause
this
it-
alien. So he is like silver. He's silver face with like jewels and a pink bob.
And he and I like
a
make
hot pink bob.
we kiss at the end of it. It's like
They're like, I knew
'Cause
you
I
were
like-
weird. That's great, dude. That's hilarious.
Oh,
That's
man.
the
But
thing that haunts
Drew got
them.
rid of all of it. All of
I'm
it.
sweating just talking about.
Okay,
this.
so here's a question I have. How much do you, once that started hitting, how much do you follow that and how much does it lead you? Does that make sense?
You're
Like,
talking about Bistro Huddy?
yeah.
I think now more than ever, it leads us. Like before it was kind of like we started off doing relatable restaurant things, right?
Right.
And it was like things that everyone was like, oh my gosh, I live in this other country and it's like that there too. And now, because it's turned more into like a sitcom and it's more relationship based, not even romantic relationship, but friendships and relationships within the restaurant, I think we let a lot of what we see people want guide us to some extent.
Right.
That is, I tell people, that is the thing that is so powerful about this. Traditional sitcoms, for instance.
Right.
You have to make a whole season, and then you start getting some feedback through focus groups and
Right.
blah, blah. For next season, you might be able to kind of use that.
Right.
The power of what you can do now, not even us, what anybody watching this can do, and some people currently are, is you can make a show like this, quote unquote, and you're getting instant feedback from the comments.
Right.
We have a Patreon. And so, yeah, you are so plugged in with your audience in such a powerful way. And you're so nimble in how you can like move the storylines based off immediate feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would not
dive into that.
Yeah. So it's a very like symbiotic relationship with the audience. That said, I do remember early on after this was taking off, and it was more like one-off relatable bits, I said to her, I go, if we can ever, because this is before I saw anybody doing anything like this, I was like, if we can ever get people to just really connect to the characters and the relationships, because I was having that worry anybody would about, we're going to run out of ideas.
Right.
There's only so many restaurant jokes.
Well, there was
and I was like, but if they get into the relationships, this could go forever.
Yeah. One of my students asked, they were like, how do you get past the 5-year? Because like there's a thing where they say a lot of influencers hit a 5-year mark. And then it's like,
we're right there.
but then
it's
we
only
were looking
going
at
up
your
right now.
stuff and I was like, that's how you do it. You take it other places. You add more characters. You take it to
It's
different
relationship.
things. It's
if you look at any
relationship.
sitcom that's gone for 10 years, you know, you're following the friendships and the relationships.
I think
you guys are going to blow that out of the... I mean, you guys completely changed the dynamic of the entire structure versus like one single character.
Yeah.
I have a friend who does a Pittsburgh Dad, which is like huge in Pittsburgh. And
Wait, what's his name?
Kurt Wooten.
Oh, no.
But he like moved back to Pittsburgh. And when he did that, it took off. Now he's at all the he's on the Jumbotron at all the football games and
that's
stuff.
awesome.
And he's great.
Oh
but
God.
he realized he's like, I got to get other people in this. Because right now it's just me like reading a newspaper. And he's like, and started getting stale. So then he started adding his wife and his kids. And then now he's adding the town. And you have to expand it. And that's the way to, and he's been doing it for 12 years now.
I was going to say another really important, like huge part of this is the community. Like the Bistro Huddy community we've created is just the most incredible thing ever.
You guys have fan art. You have
it's
people.
amazing.
It's
literally I have
groups.
I have goosebumps right now. It's the coolest thing. And so I think that is like another huge part of it. I see so many creators that create really amazing stuff and they're not engaging or interacting and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, these are the people that are really interested in your stuff. Like, create these relationships with them. Like, I'm always DMing with people. I know about their lives. I know when their stuff that's going on with their family, like their rehab that they're like injuries that they're dealing with. And I think it's just so like for us, like it's so important to us, and it's so special to have those connections. And when we go out and we see people that recognize him, it's my favorite thing because it's like, you're seeing the people that changed our lives. Like you're able to like literally thank them. Like
shout out to Brooklyn, one of the people in our community. She was always like the first comment here, and there was like a few weeks where we're like, wait, what's going on with Brooke?
We're like, is she okay?
We're both
like stalking.
She finally got back. She's like, I'm fine, guys. Like.
She's like, I just got into another show. Like she was into Supernatural.
Need no fan behind.
But it's like we're so connected with them that we're like, this is weird for her to not like be around. Like, is she okay? Is everything okay?
No, and I love that guy about you guys because you guys have also helped me like try to get because you were like, just start throwing spaghetti at the wall and just see what sticks, right? And now like Nurse Rachel is stuck, and I'm like, well, give me advice because now I feel like I'm going to be Larry the Cable Guy for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean? Which he has $100 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing.
It's great. It's great. But that was my question, like, for some of my students is they're like, well, how did you know Nurse Rachel was the one? And I was like, I didn't know. And I'm like, I'm kind of following, I'm at the beginning of where you guys were. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what to do with her. Right. And they're like, oh, so do you just follow what people like? And I'm like, yeah.
You should listen to them. Like, because if they're saying, we like this, we want more of this, give them more of that.
And we're in an era right now where you people forgive all your misses. Yeah. And publicly. So you could throw out 50 characters and everybody hates them and you have that 51st one hit. Yeah. No one's going to be mad at you about the other 50.
Yeah.
They're just true. Like,
I was going to ask, other than the creep guy, is there any other characters you tried that you were like, this is going to be the one and didn't?
I don't think so.
I mean, for sure. But like you and I did Growlings.
But like not for like video content. I don't think we've ever made it. I don't think we've ever made any.
I guess what I'm thinking of is like a lot of people out here writing spec scripts. Mm-hmm. I had a writing partner for a while. We wrote screenplays. Yeah. Just nothing but 20 years of failure.
Yeah.
Is
same.
what floods
Same.
my brain. So it's maybe not a particular character.
I was
Right.
going to kind of go off what you said. So there was this regular at our old restaurant who was like known as like a huge asshole. He kind of was, but I really liked him because he just told you how it was. He was an executive at like one of the big management agencies out here. And I remember talking to him about this pilot I wrote because I thought like this was going to be it. Like there was amazing things that had happened, but just whatever, it didn't work out. And he had told me this thing that he said, I forget exactly how it was worded, but he basically was like, no one's ever going to remember you for the stuff that didn't work. They're only going to remember you for the thing that took off. Yeah. And he was like, basically like, you just need to try stuff. And if you fail, like no one's going to basically
I
like
love
you
that.
reworded that.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me. And it's so true. I think that so many people are so scared to fail or to be embarrassed by their friends because like they're trying to put themselves out there. But I feel like you just got to do it. You never know what could come of it. It's changed our lives.
It's okay to learn on the job, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know?
But you guys have been like so generous with me and giving me advice and stuff. And I want to say that's also something that I think sets you apart because even like talking about if you guys try to help people like build brands and do stuff like you don't gatekeep. And I was talking to on my last, we had a therapist on my last podcast and she was talking about gatekeepers in it was more like lifestyle magazine stuff, but she was like, the people that gatekeep have a sense of scarcity and have a sense of like, oh, I have to hold this. And she goes, and a lot of times they come from wealth, which is really interesting.
It is.
And
that's odd because both of us
are very wealthy.
our childhood was nothing but silver spoon.
No.
But we have her and I had a mutual friend, and she's, I think, that this person, she knows I'm going to be talking about her today, so it's fine. But she has like 12 million followers on 3 or 4 platforms, and she's doing very well for herself. And whenever I've asked for any type of, she like shuts it down. And I was like, that's so interesting. And I'm not mad at you for doing that, but like, why don't you share? And she was like, well, I just feel like this could end at any moment. And so I don't want to give my resources away. Which I'm glad I asked her, and I'm glad she was honest.
Yeah.
It's still like weird. I don't know. I just feel like there's room for everybody. Like there are some, when we first started doing these, there weren't a lot of restaurant content. There was like a couple things, but there wasn't really much. Right. And now I go on TikTok and I see restaurant sketches all the time. Yeah. And there's a lot of crossover. It's like if you're fans of Bistro Huddy, you could be fans of 10 other things too. It's not like you have to choose one or the other. It's not like any of our opportunities are getting taken away by anybody else. And so I feel like there's room for everyone. And if you want to put in the work, and because it's not easy to do this type of
You
stuff.
want to really get, I go like, it's a mindset too, the way I believe about the universe. Yeah. This is going to get a little whatever.
Yeah, let's do it.
But
that's what this podcast is about, trust me.
I just believe that the universe is this infinite abundance.
Yeah.
That's genuine, that's the mindset we have. Right. So it's like, there's no zero-sum game here. No, I feel like I'm always like, send the elevator back down. Yeah. And like sometimes I'll invite people to stuff and I'm like, oh, I don't even have a seat at the table and I'm already inviting people to come with me. I'm like, okay, maybe get a seat at the table first. So you're good if I bring my mama in?
Yeah, just bring your mom. Right, hey, come on in.
Mom.
Yeah.
She's really wanting to get into podcasts.
No, I think like if anyone ever asks for advice, I always love to be able to help them because we have gone through it, and I don't have like the mindset of like you need to figure it out on your own the way we did.
Weird.
So it is really weird because you had gotten advice from people too in the sense of like diversifying on all platforms and like specifically like Facebook.
I was surprised you guys started on TikTok. I always thought it was Instagram. No. I don't know why I thought that.
It was TikTok, but early on I got advice from a big creator who reached out. I was like, I like your stuff. Hey, don't sleep on Facebook. This is what it pays me a month. And people don't realize. And I was like, oh. It
was like YouTube type money.
Yeah.
So what we did is we just started posting it, the same thing on 4 platforms, even though TikTok was the exciting one growing.
Right.
And then the others, like YouTube, it took over 2 years to pop.
YouTube is that like I can't give anybody advice on YouTube. Any of my students,
YouTube
I'm like,
is so this is the most interesting thing.
But tell me, you kind of told me when you were like Nashville and
exactly.
Yeah, tell me that story.
we had finally got like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. That was a huge milestone because we had told you we had tried for a year and got 200, and the majority were like people that we already knew.
Right.
And so to hit 10,000 on YouTube, we were like, oh my god, this is amazing. And we're in Nashville. Did you need to say something?
No.
We're in Nashville visiting.
I did, but then I judged what I was going to say. And can we talk about, is this like a therapy thing?
I mean,
Yes.
No, you go.
Yes.
No, you go.
Yes.
And so we're in Target in Nashville, and he gets a message.
This is before the boycott. Years before the boycott. All right?
and he can't turn it off. And
We want more of it.
Look, people, you realize how many people have been canceled for being on her podcast?
So many.
should we just go?
90%.
Get out of here.
90% cancellation.
Our career's
policy.
done after this. And he gets a DM saying, "Congrats on trending #1 in the world in comedy on YouTube." And he's like, "What?" And to go about, you never know what's going to take off. It was the first video that we did, the redneck characters, Tim and Pam.
Oh,
And
God,
you
I
just
love
never
them.
know. Like, he just did it as like, he's from the South. He knows these people really well. It'd be funny to kind of put this in. It was based off kind of a
Well,
a
it had
real
already blown
story.
up on TikTok. So that video had already done crazy numbers on every other platform. But then the YouTube had like a little bit later, it shot up, and it was the rest is history. Now we're over 2 million.
It
on
went
YouTube.
it went from 10K to like 200K in 24 hours, pretty much.
100K in 24 hours. But yeah, it was off.
It was crazy. And then
After that, every video, we'd
just
have
pop,
like
pop, pop,
two
pop.
videos in the top 10 in comedy at the same time for a few weeks.
Good God.
It was just
so
every
crazy.
video was just, and it was just so YouTube. So that's the thing I tell people about YouTube is like just keep grinding.
Yeah.
It just takes one, and I've heard other YouTubers talk about that, how it just takes that one on YouTube,
Right.
and then everybody's just like
Follows, yeah.
on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get some questions so we can
Okay.
go through this. Okay, so let's see. We already did that. Okay, can you name all of your characters?
Oh my gosh.
How many do we have right now?
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it for you right now.
I mean, in front of the house is we could probably name. So we have obviously Nicole.
we actually have it in a song. You want to do it in the song?
Okay.
That we always do.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Nicole, and Terry.
Terry.
No. So
Oh my God,
let's start at the front.
We practice now.
So there's Amber when you walk in the door.
Amber, the
right?
hostess.
Look over at the bar. You got Clint and
Deb.
Deb. The manager's Terry. And then we have 5 servers now, but you have Brad,
Nicole.
Aaron, and Bridget. And then Trick is the new
The
server
neck
slash
tattoo?
buster.
Neck tattoo
There's
Trick.
another
People love
buster
Trick.
named
Great.
Oscar.
Oscar.
And then you go into the back of the house. Your dishwasher's Harold. And then you have the cooks.
Chef
You have
Joey,
Chef Joey, sous
Nico.
chef. Yeah, Nico and Pickles. And then
And
sous
Ruby,
chef
who
Ruby,
everyone loves.
Loves.
the
Ruby.
lesbian power woman, amazing.
We have the owner of the restaurant that's kind of come in
yeah,
a little bit, Spencer.
Spencer.
And we
yep.
have some regulars we always use.
And then we have all the regulars.
Regulars.
Yeah.
Tim
you have
ladies.
Tim and
Pam.
Pam, we just talked
Love
about.
them.
Their
Love
son,
the dirty ladies.
Their son,
The dirty
Darl.
ladies.
Their son, Darl, yeah.
Sybil and Madge.
Sybil and Madge are there. And then you
Poppy
have
and River.
Poppy and River, right?
I love that you like
Bob
it
and
took-
Phyllis are old school regulars.
They came back recently.
And then there's this regular that I use all the time that no one really, Becker.
Yeah. We could just call her Becker.
She's just this annoying.
she, like, there was
and there's
one-
Karen, who's
Nicole's
Nicole's mom, also, who's like.
Ooh,
a
I haven't
Karen.
seen. Okay,
We haven't used her in a while because it was a big mistake saying it was her mom, because now it makes it whenever we want to use Karen, there's this layer of her being Nicole's mom. that
Because
makes
people
it-
know, like the fans know,
have
like
to,
the
like,
lore of
yeah.
everything, so they're like,
But then you took the old ladies on a cruise ship with the. I was
Twice.
like, dude, that wrecked me. I was like, oh, it's so.
I begged
funny.
him. I begged him to like go out in the wild in the
Yeah.
wigs, and he's like, I can't.
Oh, on the
Those-
cruise ship. Yeah,
Yeah.
she wanted me to dress
Because
up
I was like, how
Sybil.
funny would it be if they're just like in the casino or
funny
they're
for
out
you.
somewhere? It'd be
Here's
funny
the
for
thing,
all of
what
us.
you don't
but
understand is I shoot like a certain way
Right.
that makes them. But you see this middle-aged man's body walking around with like jeans underneath, and then the Sybil top, and it gets
It's
really
alarming.
uncomfortable
It's
for
alarming.
everybody. It's like it goes from like to,
Oh.
Oh no.
and then like I can see people filming that, and, like posting their TikToks, and
Oh,
like here's the Bistro Huddy guy on the cruise ship. Children are screaming like. They
We
just
get-
turn
we
the
get
boat
kicked off.
around.
They like ban us
Yeah.
for life.
the
We're
boat
not
around.
allowed.
Right.
No, but I was like, those women remind me of every matriarch in my family.
They're out of
like,
control.
At a
Where are you
bar.
from?
I'm from Kansas City.
Okay.
But a quarter of my family's from Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're more like New Yorky to me.
Yeah,
Like
I
New
mean,
York
but they're
Jewish
just
ladies.
dirty old ladies.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I have
yeah.
in mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like once their husbands
See.
pass away, they're just like on the prowl.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
I was raised in this like my parents were both Church of Christ.
Oh, wow.
The
Okay.
South. So it's just like, none of that.
Yeah.
You didn't talk like that.
Oh, well,
No
I
one
love
ever.
that, like those characters. I'm like, that's my Aunt Jean and
They're
my
so
grandma.
funny.
That's
They're
exactly
the most
what
fun
they
to write for because you
Yeah.
can just say the craziest stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you get away with
And
it,
it's-
Get away
whatever
with
it
it.
is.
People are always in the comments like, if you reverse this, these are like, you're right.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that. I'm making jokes.
Yeah. Oh, that is a question I had that from one of my students is, do you get trolls?
Very few.
Very
I was gonna say you
few.
don't. Yeah.
Very fortunate in that regard. Compared to some
Yeah.
people deal with.
Because it's so, like, all your character, like, are so lovable.
I think a thing too, and this was something that Drew had mentioned really early on. Like when these started taking off, he was like, I don't ever want to be negative. Like he never wanted to punch down. Even with the rednecks. Like
Yeah.
we make fun of them, but in like a light way. It's never like
Right.
an attack. And I think that
Well, it's because other rednecks look at that and they're like, yeah, spot on.
Yeah,
They're not,
right.
like, offended.
That's true. Well, we just want to make it from that character's point of view. This is their truth. They're all living
Right.
their truth.
Yeah.
Right. But the other thing is I didn't want to do is I saw a lot of creators do restaurant content. It was very much like this tone of like, I effing hate working in restaurants. I'm going to vent. And I totally,
Yeah, there's
not,
nothing
I don't
wrong
have
with
a
that.
problem with that.
Right.
But that was the tone of like, I'm going to seethe through this video.
Right.
And I was like, let's just be like,
because we really did enjoy working.
We didn't
Right.
hate it.
Right.
You hate parts of your job, but you also
Right.
love parts of your
Right.
job, the connection
Right.
to the regulars
Yeah.
and stuff. I've seen your stuff. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all. I just wanted the tone to be colorful
Lighter.
and like
Yeah.
light and like truthful and like the good and the bad.
Yeah. Inspirational.
Sometimes the
Yeah,
customers
that's
are
like-
right.
Yeah.
Because every serve video, it's like the customers are always the a-holes.
Yeah.
And in ours, some videos they are, and some videos it's very obvious the server's the a-hole.
Right.
And the customer was
Well, I love when
correct.
Nicole and the other girl get at it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right.
they go back and forth.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, give it. Because then everybody wins. The customer went, like, if you're from the
Right.
customer perspective,
And
but
they make
Nicole
some
gets
good
to-
points,
Yeah.
Nicole sometimes is a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
she did not do her job.
Yeah.
She's being lazy.
And Nicole is
like-
loosely based on.
Oh yeah, it's a great entry.
I'm gonna go. I'm done.
On that note,
I always did my job. I always
She
did my
did,
job.
she did.
The part of Nicole, and this is what I was gonna say. One thing that I like that I don't want to say sets us apart, and I don't know if it's because I'm part of this duo, but our female characters have so much more depth to them than like a lot of other ones.
1000%,
I
yes.
feel like there's so many men that will do female characters and it feels like a mockery of them.
Right.
And it's like their version of like what, and it just always feels real. Like I watch it and I'm like, is that what you think of women? Like,
Right.
come on. And I feel like for ours, like, there's so much more to them than that. And so for the part of Nicole that is based off me was kind of her like not taking shit from people. I didn't. I had this really special gift of like being able to not take shit, but the customer never thought I was like being a bitch to
Same.
them.
That is
like,
my
it was,
gift. That was my gift as a
It is
bartender.
really powerful.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
I never had any complaint about it.
Same.
No one ever complained about me, but I was able to be like, we're not going to do that.
I remember training somebody
It
one
is
time.
interesting. Your name is
Nicole,
'cause,
I know.
Like, you do.
Well,
have
people would
that.
You
send
are.
me that and be like, "This is you."
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
mean,
like,
thinking about it
actually,
now,
this
like
is what-
does
it
have that
kind of
energy.
you are. Kind
yeah,
of.
because there's. I remember regulars would come in and I'd be like, "Oh, your wife let you out of the house, or did she kick you out this time? What'd she do?"
That's
Yeah,
great.
and they
Yeah.
just they're like,
You're
"Oh,
more-
Nicole."
she's a blend of Nicole and Deb.
Yeah.
Because Deb's our female mama bear bartender.
Yes, yeah,
Who's-
the old
she's
She
kinda
doesn't
like-
take shit either.
She does it in
Yeah.
that southern like way that you just did.
Yeah.
It's not even southern. It's just like
Yeah,
over it.
those two. That's my perfect combination.
yeah.
I love that.
I remember I trained a younger girl one time, and I was like, "Just say this and just do this," and then she did it, and she got written up. And
Yeah,
I was
'cause
like,
it's like,
"Oh,
you need to
but
be able to
you
own
mean
it in a
I didn't like mean it. Like she's like, "You asshole," and you're like, "No, you can't call him an asshole. Like, what are you doing?" It's like
Have you made that video yet?
No, I should.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Oh yeah. Training her. Oh
But
god, you
training
gotta do
her,
that. That's
because she just came across as like she was fucking angry, and I was like,
You're
"Oh
like,
no,
whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
it's
whoa.
like talking shit."
It's a gift. It's a gift.
We've
It's a
done
gift.
a few of those where it's like always the new bio dummy is Aaron and Brad's
Aaron's
always,
been like the new guy
Brad
for
or
5
Nicole,
years.
I know.
Brad and Nicole are
I
always
love it.
teaching him how to do things, and then he
Yeah.
does it, and the way
He's
he
so
does it,
sweet.
his tone is always like, no, but not that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So, yeah.
Because he just doesn't get it. Like all those characters, I love them so
So
much.
funny.
So this is going to bring me to the next point. How do you guys divvy up what you do? Like I know you're the face, the characters and stuff, but what? Because you guys are co-creating this, you're co-writing, I've seen the videos behind the scenes where you're like directing. How do you guys
He does
do that?
so much of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I get so much credit, but he does so much of it. So pretty much how it is, we'll brainstorm like what we want the video to be about. He has a list on his phone. It might be something that someone inspired in a comment. Might be a video, which I feel like a huge thing. I always see people that are inspired by other people's content and don't give them credit. I don't think it takes away from your version of that
Yep.
to not credit people. I think that's such a huge thing to do.
We say ideas submitted by blank. I
Yeah,
always
give
DM
people
and
the
say, "Do you
credit.
want-"
Give them the credit.
Oh, I did
Tag.
submit. I've been doing thanks for it because people send me X-rays.
However
Yeah,
you
okay,
want to
got
do it.
Yeah.
But I always see other people that don't do that. And I'm like, it doesn't take away from what you did
No, it
to get
expands it more, 'cause
inspiration
then
from
they
other
get
people.
more-
Yeah.
then
and
other people wanna jump on.
Other people are like, oh, and they'll send ideas.
Yeah.
'cause they're
Yeah.
like,
So
oh, he
it'll-
likes ideas. Mhm.
Yeah.
It'll start with that. So we'll brainstorm the idea. We'll kind of talk out the beats, how we want it to be, certain little moments. He'll go through, do a pass of the first script.
Clickety, clickety, clickety.
We'll go back, we'll change. Oh, this person shouldn't say that. They should say this. Oh, it would be funnier if they did this. Just little tweaks like that. Then, like 98% of the time, he's directing himself. He's in the room alone because now our daughter only takes one nap. We normally film in the morning.
The one nap.
Damn that. And so he films in the morning while I'm with her. So he will do it, but we've done this for so long. He's told me like he'll have my voice in his head. Like Andrea will want you to do it this way or like have it that.
The
He'll give
screaming
himself
doesn't go away.
he'll give himself the different options. Well, this is so early on, he would do everything without that voice in his head, and I would watch it, and I'm like, "You need to reshoot this. This
So
is not.
you reshoot.
This is not
Yeah.
the right response. Like he
midnight,
needs
and
to
then
come
they
with this
put
other
the
energy."
Wig back on.
Yeah, and so he would get really upset because it literally would be like midnight, and he would go back in. Now we have like a different shooting schedule, but
Yeah, we just have it kind of. We know what each other likes more,
Yeah.
and I know the characters better now. And
Another question is, what was the shooting schedule like before? Like, also like, were you putting in so much more, many hours before to take it off, and now you're doing less, or is it because now there's brand deals and stuff? Like, how does?
I think there's definitely more now, especially with like
More what?
more hours put in now than before.
so we do 4 a week.
Although when we first started, he was doing 7 a week because when
well,
he
yeah,
was
when
trying
the
to
lightning
grow,
was in the bottle, it was like.
so that was
Go,
a
go,
lot
go,
then.
go,
Yeah. Let's
But
keep
those
going.
videos were way shorter because at the time reels
were, yeah.
they didn't even have reels, but you can only do
Yeah.
like 30-second.
Yeah, we were making
whatever.
like 15 to 30, 40-second
just
videos.
like little quick jokes.
Yeah.
There'd be no even written script.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
here's
Like-
the idea. I'd go in and just kind of like. And now that they're more fleshed out, like episode-y kind of things.
Yeah.
But
We
do
have certain days
4
that he
week.
shoots.
Yeah.
So the certain days that we do stuff on, and then on top of that, there's like the admin stuff, like submitting paperwork to SAG for like brand partnerships or
Right.
meeting with people that want to.
Yeah.
Partner
There's a
and-
lot. Every day it's 7 days a week.
Do you
but-
both run socials?
He does his all on his own.
One huge thing she does that's very time consuming is she takes care of all the people that pirate our video. So like people that illegally copy and post our stuff.
Oh my
She goes through the
gosh.
whole process, which is a whole process
Yeah.
of reporting them in the only way you can through copyright and
Yeah,
infringement
it
and
takes
trademark
forever.
stuff. And she'll do that for like hours.
Oh my
a lot.
god. And how do you guys balance it with kids now? 2 kids.
We always prioritize family.
Yeah.
So that is like our kids are our first priority. And when we are talking about like the biggest change of our life, it's like that is like we've gotten money, we've gotten all these opportunities, we've got to travel to really amazing places, but to be able to spend this time with our kids, like it is the most priceless.
The biggest thing we talk about all the time is how fortunate
We're so
we are.
grateful
Like,
for that.
yeah,
We're so
so
grateful
much
for that.
time.
So we prioritize them, but we do have schedules that we normally shoot on. So for the most part, it's just our son is in kindergarten, and so he's usually away when we're filming for the most part.
Yeah. It's a
but-
lot of talking, like communication.
Yeah.
Right.
I've gotten much better since being married to her about being very, not being passive aggressive, not holding things in.
Right.
So it's a lot of this kind of conversation. Okay, hey, I need to film or I need to edit for 2 hours in the next 5 hours. What's going on with you in the
Yeah.
next 5 hours? Just freaking say it. And she'll say, okay, I need to do this thing that quite honestly is just this thing that was in her head that she kind of wanted to do, but just say it. And then we can be like, okay, how about you do that now? And in an hour, I'll do that.
this.
And then once you just say it,
Yeah.
the day goes a lot better because everybody has a
Smoother.
plan. But when you're just like in your head going like, when am I going to edit this thing? And like,
Yeah,
and then
just
she's
get it
like,
done.
oh, I wish I could do this thing. And like, and then you know, so we just talk
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
from starting to when things started taking off and you knew that you could quit the service industry? I mean, I don't even know if that happened during the pandemic. What's the timeline of that?
So I want to share that story because I actually love that story.
Yeah, the restaurant.
So I love the story. So wait, what'd you say?
I said, great, I'll hit the restaurant.
So it's the pandemic, right? Everything is shut down, and restaurants were only open to go. He was still serving the day that everything closed. So everyone's kind of home, and there's just like 1 or 2 people there doing takeout. And they had asked him, "Do you want to do that?" And at this point, he had started making videos, started seeing stuff, and he was like, for the first time, like he was getting this validation that he really wanted for like his talent.
Right.
And so he was just like, you can give someone else, like let someone else, another server go. Cause he had seniority. So
We're
they were
still
like,
getting that government money.
we're still getting the stimmy.
We had a little runway.
and I was working too. So, I was doing social media management at the time, but little by little, like every couple of weeks, they would be like, all right, we're bringing more people back. Do you want to come? And he's like, no, let other people. He was trying to delay it as much as possible.
Right.
And then finally they were like, everything is reopening. You have to either come back or you don't have a job anymore.
Right.
And he like broke down. He was crying. He broke down because he was like, I feel like we really have something here. I feel like we have something and I don't want to let it go.
I also said, I can't go back.
Yeah. Oh, he did. He's like, I can't go back.
That was what I remember through the tears.
Now, had you hit the 10,000 on YouTube?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, this
Okay.
is really early on. This
Okay,
is
good.
The numbers.
This was like,
Do we have that one?
I don't
Bing
even
deal?
know if we were at 100K yet, honestly. Like maybe.
Okay.
It was really early on.
Okay. I like
and
this.
I was like, you're not going to go back then. If I have to be the one to go back, if I have to be the one to, like I said, I was doing social media management. If I have to get another client, like we'll figure it out.
Okay.
And that's what we did. We were just like,
Which was a huge thing for her to say to me. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like she has a 1-year-old, you know, she's.
we have a 1-year-old. Together. That's both of our.
I've made her have a 1-year-old.
You take that out. You cut that. I don't want my son to see this one day. Our child, Hudson. Which camera was mine? I love you. Yeah. So to her to say that to me, was really big.
But you
I had always
She's
said,
always-
like, I saw the talent he had, and I was like, if someone could just see what I see, your life will change. And in my mind, this was not something I could have ever dreamt of. I was thinking like a director, a casting director or something. But the people that saw him were like all these fans that really changed his life. And so the difference between Drew and I is he's a very like, look at the bigger picture in the future, and I'm like, let's look at next week. Like, let's just get to next week, and like, that's what's like a good balance.
Which brings up a lot of financial issues.
But that's why we're so good together. I'm like, we just need to get enough money to get us through the month. Like that's all I looked at. Like we don't need to worry
like,
about.
How about till age 90?
I'm talking about early on when you were.
Yeah.
But that's like how you hear a
401k.
lot of stories start like that, where it's like, I think I'm going to go all in.
Yeah.
You like push all your chips.
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
let's do
that's
it.
exactly. And she's quite frankly, she's always at every big moment. She's always been like, "You're not quitting. We're gonna make this happen." I remember like years ago, before all this, I had a horrible audition for like a Disney kids show.
Yeah.
Which I got like 3 a year. You know.
Yep.
Commercial auditions, yeah, but I get very few of these, and like worked my ass off, was coached on it, going there and just big turd in the middle of the room. You know, it just went terrible. I went and sat in my car, and this is after like years of like I'd done Ground and Sunday Company.
Mine was
like,
a Nickelodeon show.
I'm
same
like,
thing.
if I'm at this age and had enough chances, I'm like, it's done. I'm like screaming mad. I'm like, we're quitting. I'm done. Blah, blah. You know, she was like, you're not quitting. You're not quitting.
Oh my god!
I was like,
I love this.
I'm like, this was her out because, quite frankly, you know, were we married then or engaged? Whatever.
I saw
A lot of partners in that situation would have been like, yeah, what accounting, you know,
maybe law school.
But she was like, no, let's keep. It was just blew me away.
Marketing.
So
You'd be great at marketing.
She's always been like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I love this. How much of your life changed from once you started taking off? Like, if you could give the audience an idea of like, you were both working at a restaurant. Living in a rental house with your... Is that the house I went to during... Oh, my God, that was such a cute birthday party.
It was a great house. It was a great house.
It was such a great house. To, like, how many years later and then where you're at now?
I feel like everything's changed.
Yeah.
In a way. time, working from home versus for me, I had two jobs, being away all the time. So that financially things have shifted quite dramatically. We're in a much better place. So that's huge.
And
just-
how
I
much
think
time?
timeline, like, I think pretty early on we got our first brand partnership, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't remember how much we got paid for it, but it was enough that, like I was saying, we just need something for this month, and it was enough to
to replace it was
what
like
he would
replacement level income.
Yeah.
Got it.
For what we did.
And then as the channels start growing, you don't have to rely on brand deals as much because you're getting money from YouTube, you're getting money from Facebook. Back then, Instagram was really competing with TikTok, so the Reels bonus was like a huge thing, and he would just try to maximize. He would just try to hustle and maximize as much as
the
we.
Reels bonus.
Reels bonus. I miss those,
And they
dude.
just pull
Oh
it.
my god.
And now they're like,
Yeah.
work for free.
But we early
Yeah.
on were like, let's get as many revenue streams as possible.
Yeah.
Because you
Right.
can't depend on any one in this
Yeah.
crazy world.
And then when they change,
yeah, so
exactly,
that's the
Reels
other thing
being
I tell
pulled.
people is like, post everywhere, get as many different things going as you can.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're in a position now, like we've been blessed enough to where our merch sales, 100% of the profits go to a different charity every month.
Oh my
We've been doing
god.
that since
So,
last
yeah.
October, and we'll just
Yeah.
continue.
I love
It's children
that.
with hair loss this month.
Yeah. Which is
I don't know
like
when
a
this
perfect
will
thing
air.
with like wigs.
What's the next one?
The next one is New Mom Chicago.
So
and
if this is May when this goes, it'll be
It'll be in
Yeah.
2 weeks, when it comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, New Mom Chicago is the next one.
What's New Mom Chicago? What is
It
that?
is an organization that helps moms under 24 kind of with stabilization to get on their feet and make sure that they have stability with home and all that stuff,
Yeah.
jobs.
Oh my god, I want
Yeah.
you guys to freaking do so well. I can't even stand it. I'm like rooting for you guys so hard all the time.
We feel like we're already anything
Yeah,
else would be.
We feel really lucky.
Cherry on top. Do you have advice specifically for people wanting to be influencers, content creators? Specific advice for them, which we've kind of covered, and then more broad advice for people that feel like they're generally stuck, like given the environment and the economy and stuff right now. So like for influencers and then just people feeling stuck.
Influencers, everybody says it, but authenticity is what it's all about. If you are someone like us, we're doing characters like with wigs.
Right.
It's still about, and this is another thing she brought to the table early on. I tended to go more bizarre, like Curtis
Silly.
Creep, silly. Like what my ideas would start with, would it be crazy if?
Yeah.
And she was more of like, let's do the most relatable thing and trust the comedy will be there.
Well,
but like
that was
make
one
it
of the
just
things
relatable and grounded and real.
That was one of the things we
So-
found about going viral early on when you were saying like what leads you and the things that people could see themselves in and be like, oh my gosh, this happened to me. And they're sending it, they're sharing it to their friends, they're sharing it to their story. So that relatability was like a huge.
So relatability, authenticity. So if you're someone who's not doing characters, you're doing yourself, what someone said, advice to someone like, say the thing you've always been scared to say. That's one way to go about it. Or just be your authentic self.
I think another really big thing, if you wanted to do this as like you're looking to have content creation be like your full-time job,
Right.
you need to imagine it as like this is another job of yours. It can't just be like a hobby that
Yes.
you're like, I'm bored, I'm going to film today. It's like, even if you're making $0, your work schedule is like
Yep.
Mondays from this time to this time is when you're going to
Right.
film, and you need to pretend like this is your real job.
Right.
And you need to like
Yeah.
put the effort in like it's your real job. Otherwise, it's not going to
Yeah.
become that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good advice too.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, diversify, like put it everywhere. It takes a lot of time to keep up with all of the platforms, especially like when YouTube wasn't taking off. It's like really easy to be like, nothing's really happening here. Let me just let that go.
Right.
But you never know when it's going to pop off. So I think it's so important. Don't just post everything on TikTok or on one platform.
Yeah.
You need to post it everywhere.
And if you look at a chart, a graph over the 5 years, our biggest income booster from different revenues it's just constantly shifting.
Shifting.
Like
Yeah.
right now it'd be this, but a year ago it was this. And
Right.
2 years ago it was this. It's so you never so we
Yeah.
just
yeah.
Yeah. And like then the TikTok ban was, I was like,
Yeah.
oh
And
god, we
the
talked
other
about
thing.
that.
Like so many people just focused on TikTok, so now they're scrambling to get their people everywhere else. And so if you're creating those communities and all the other platforms, they're already there.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously going to be people that were only on TikTok and never at the others that are going to find their way over there. But I think it's just so important to.
and also embrace change. Like it's so obvious, isn't it, that everything is constantly shifting. And like 2 years from now, 5 years from now,
Where's it going to be?
what is it going to be? We don't
no
even
idea.
freaking know what AI is going to
Yeah.
do with content creation and like how people are going to be watching things
Yeah.
and what they're going to be consuming. So you just have to not fear that,
Right.
embrace it, and just go where things are going and just be welcoming to new platforms, new technology, new.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would go about that, but that's.
And then generally, like if people feeling stuck right now.
I feel like if you're feeling stuck,
Did you guys feel stuck?
we didn't feel stuck, but I have felt stuck, not in terms of that. Like there was like not that long ago, I felt like I don't really have hobbies. Like I'm not really doing anything.
Right.
And I started getting into fantasy books.
Yeah.
And that like just opened my world. And so I feel like if you feel stuck and you're not like trying to be a content creator, you're just like a normal person that just wants to live a normal life.
Yeah.
Try different hobbies, try different things. Just go out of your comfort zone. Like I freaking held a scorpion yesterday. I was like,
Oh my God.
not that I'm saying like you need to go do that,
Yeah.
but just try different things and try different experiences.
And for me, it was a mindset shift. Remember
Yeah.
meeting with Renee and like reading those books about,
Mindset.
the secret kind of a thing,
Yeah.
But like literally the way the universe, it's opening myself up to a new way of seeing just the way the
who's
world
Renee?
worked.
So Renee was a regular at our old restaurant.
Okay.
And everyone always thought she was crazy, but I was obsessed. I loved her.
Right.
I loved her because I think when you start talking about like the law of attraction and all this stuff, people that might not be used to that, they're like, you're nuts. But I was into
I
that.
love
So
it.
I'm like, tell me more. Tell me how I could attract all this good stuff
Are
to
you
my
into
life.
Abraham Hicks?
So that
Yeah.
was one of the,
Yeah,
that's the
girl.
book he was talking about, Ask and It Is Given.
I read
Yeah.
And
it.
so she had really changed my life with mindset coaching. Because she was working on a course. And so she was basically like using me as like the test subject. And so I told Drew, I'm like, you need to work with Renee. Because he was really stuck. I'm like, you need to work with Renee. And so she became his mindset coach. And
Yeah, coached me, and I just started doing the work and like really shifted the way I thought, and it was very helpful for me. And I got clean and sober.
Yeah. Was that before all this took off?
This was got right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been clean and sober since November of 2014.
Oh, awesome.
And then still stucky, but like started changing. But I would never been able to work on myself if I had
Yeah.
not gotten that out of the way.
Right.
For sure, that was step
Dude,
one.
that's awesome. Yeah. I've gone to Abraham Hicks seminars a couple times. I
Okay.
saw Sherry O'Terry at one. Sat right
Oh,
next to her. I
nice.
was like,
it's
okay.
for people that aren't, it is weird. It's definitely like weird to like hear some of the stuff, but it's like changed my life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really read. I don't really
But you
still
read the
dig
book.
in,
But you read that
but
book.
definitely it was a good foundation. It literally shifted. It was just a shift
The perspective.
in
Yeah.
the way I see the world and the way I think about things. Like if something good happens now, I'm just like I like sit with
Gratitude.
it, and I'm just like, that's amazing. I'd love to feel that more. I'd love to feel
Yeah.
that more. That's
That was
great.
one of the things
And less
Renee had. That was
fear
like,
and
so
I
stuff.
love
we'll
you
do a
guys
little
so
quick
much.
mindset tip. So one of the things Renee had taught us was like, let's say you really want this acting job or something. And you're like, I really want it, and you're focusing on it. Obviously, like the law of attraction, you're focusing on not having that thing, and that's like a bigger thing. But she would always tell us, like, think about the feeling that you would get if you booked that job. And you're just telling the universe, bring me things that make me feel like that. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to care if it's that or if it's like,
Right.
because
The
you
feeling. You want
might
the
be,
feeling.
you might be
Right.
focusing on like, I want this like
Very
little
specific
co-star
thing.
role, but like you're closing yourself off to being like a regular in a
Right.
series or something. So she always taught us to like focus on like, bring me more things that make me feel like that. So whenever anything good happens to us, we'll like bask in that. We're just like, bring us more
Who
things
knew
that
it'd
make
be
us
TikTok?
right? Bring us more
'Cause I
things that
wasn't
make
sitting there
us
thinking about that. I was just like, give me some of that good stuff, Lord, universe. And it came in the form of a Chinese app.
And look where we are now.
Well, okay, now I have my Instagram clip, so thank you so much for that. I was like, there it is. What are we going to use? That's the one.
Lord Universe. T-shirt.
Is there anything else you guys want to share?
Not really.
No? All
We
right.
just feel really lucky. We feel
Yeah.
really lucky because like all of this happened to us, what we would imagine later in life. Like you think about like all the stuff maybe
Oh, yeah.
happening when you're
We're
younger.
old.
This happened like
Oh,
in
yeah.
our 40s.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like we just have like a completely different appreciation because
Yeah,
we lived
that's
so
true.
long with so
Yeah.
little.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
to be able to like live your dreams,
Yeah.
I think it's such a big thing to tell people, like, don't have an expiration date on your dreams. Like, if you want something bad enough, don't, like,
Yeah.
I had told him, I'm like, I don't care if we're like little grandparents working in a diner, like, you're not going to give up acting. That was what the
Oh my
conversation was then.
gosh.
Because it's like, when you have an expiration on your dream, like, you might as well just not even go for it. Because
She always
Right,
says
right.
expiration dates are for milk, right? You
No.
always say,
I don't
okay.
say that. I'd probably still drink it if it was expired, honestly.
Yeah.
Wipe it off.
Yeah, so smell it. Smell it. Where can people follow you if they don't already follow you, but they probably will? Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
It's
YouTube.
all under Drew Talbert. There are
Oh, yeah,
some
Drew.
Bistro
Yeah.
Huddies that are like not fan
Started
accounts.
as started
So
as that.
it's under Drew Talbert
Bistro
all
Huddy.
over.
And then Patreon, we have a Patreon now.
Great.
Patreon.com/Bistro Huddy.
Got it.
And then if you want to support these charities, it's bistrohuddy.com is the merch store.
Or you could support them directly.
And then Andrea is
great.
at Andrea Kelly on Instagram, and she does a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
And they're great.
And merch giveaways and like Patreon giveaways and stuff like that.
I love
And
when
on
she interviews you
TikTok.
in like the booth setting.
So
Yeah.
we do that
That's
on
great.
Patreon once a month. And it's so
it's
fun.
so
Because
good.
it's like
Yeah.
the first time you see the characters interacting with
We
someone
call
that's
it
not Drew
Ask
in a wig.
Andrea.
Yeah. And doing Q&As sometimes
Yeah.
too, right? That's
Yeah.
the best. All right. So check them out if you haven't. And thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you for having us.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure.
And as always, you can follow me at Nicole Birch Comedy on all socials or at The Funny Thing Is or NicoleComedy.com. And we'll see you next week.
You're a great host, by the way.
Thank you.